Good morning all for Thursday, the 2nd of September. High pressure continues to dominate our weather patterns at the moment, and although the isobars are starting to come round to introduce a slight bit more of east to the north, we're still left with this very moist airflow across the UK. Over the next couple of days, that high pressure is going to just start to continue to decline, and eventually we will start to pick up a bit more continental air, which may actually just dry things out a bit. Won't produce epic soaring, but it should be better than what we've had recently. Just bear in mind, though, towards the middle of next week, we might see some activity from the Bay of Biscay. But for today, we have high pressure to our north and introducing still that noticeable easterly wind. Those easterly winds, as I say, have come round, may even have strengthened just a little bit, but generally same as it has been over the last few days of sort of east-northeast, sort of 15 to 20 knots at about 10 knots on the ground. Met Office public forecast sort of shows it as sort of 12 to 13 knots on the ground. That's probably a little bit higher than it will actually be. But yes, certainly brightening up later this afternoon, and that should be a better day than we've had in previous, but starting off once again nice and cloudy. We can see all the moist air coming off the North Sea. In fact, it has managed to cover the whole of England and Wales. The only bit just sticking out is the western part of the Lake District. In fact, even Northern Ireland and Scotland looking very cloudy there. So yes, if you're feeling it's just Lasham that's had this, no, it's thank God we don't live on an east coast area, because it would happen a lot more. But yes, thick cloud at the moment, but give it a couple of hours and the temperature and dew point will split, and we should get a bit better afternoon. Top temperature, well, if you believe this, if we got decent sunshine, it'd be 22, but take the Met Office forecast, more like 18, 19. Dew points, if we got enough sort of heating and splits, would probably go down to about 10. I think they've been generally floating a little bit above that at times. Yeah, that was yesterday. It was just above 10 when we got a reasonable cloud base. We got about 3,000 foot cloud base and a little bit of soaring yesterday. You can see they're both sort of tracking at the moment, which is what we'd expect for this time of the morning. 13 and a temperature of 10. Still feels quite chilly for this time of year, though it is now autumn. Just compare that again to the site forecast for Lasham, which is probably about right, which says that we will see at 19 degrees and a northeasterly wind and thermals later this afternoon. That's the picture outside currently, and yeah, it's just deja vu, really. Groundhog Day. We've seen this every day, probably for the last week or so, but it will improve. No real rush though. And Farnborough currently, so check they haven't updated. No, it's broken at 1600, so I reckon it's about broken at 1200 at Lasham. You can see it will improve, and their latest TAF saying broken at 3000, but with some drizzly bits this morning. Top Meteo are not predicting much in the way of cross-country distance today, which is unsurprising, but you might get some local soaring this afternoon. If you look around 1 o'clock, some weak thermals up to about 2,000 feet, and then we get a bit of maybe some more patchy cumulus taking us up to about 2,500 feet during the day. So yeah, might see a little bit more of the sun than we have in previous days. At least that's what the Met Office are suggesting here. Good. Okay, on to airspace. Just avoid the Bournemouth area for the next few days now. You've got a red arrows display there at 3 o'clock. It is the Bournemouth International Air Festival, and there's a restricted area temporary. I mean, to be honest, if you want to get down there, you have to get the Bournemouth main airspace anyway. But yeah, there's restricted area temporary there pretty much all weekend and all week for the rest of this week. So yeah, just keep well away from Bournemouth. Red arrows will, when they depart Bournemouth Herne, that they will have to fly around a bit near Compton Abbas before then coming in to run into display over the seafront, from what I've seen. So just bear that in mind. Usual Stolen Farnborough hours, 22. There's a big exercise I think going on at Little Rissington with parachuting. Yeah, within 10 nautical miles, a cone of surface to 4,000 feet, 3 nautical miles. and 4,800, 8,000 feet, 6 nautical miles. You won't really get like that. So yeah, going near Lula Islington, it's had a chat to Bryce. Other than that, pyrotechnics at Abingdon, and there's not a lot else. Operation Lasham will be runway 09. There are a number of Navajo movements today. I think they started about 1 and then run every hour through to about 5. There's a couple of air tests to do. No jet movements. Thank you for your patience with yesterday's one. It wasn't actually an issue at the Lasham end at all. There were some issues through a third party, which caused that delay, which left us on the ground an extra half an hour than we should have. But hopefully some learning points from that. But all in all, another sort of typical day of northeasterlies at Lasham. Bye for now.